and lay down on your backs. And let's take your little ball and place it between your knees. Sorry, as you lay down. Good. And find that nice leg alignment. Your knees are in line with the front of your ASIS, and your heels are in line with your knees. And we're just going to lengthen the arms down by your sides. And I want you to find that neutral pelvis. So remember, if you need to check with your hands, if you put the heel of your hand on your hip bones and your fingertips right on your pubic bone, they should be parallel to the floor in a nice flat plane. Again, you might feel a slight curve in the low back. And then see if you can let your rib cage feel a little bit heavy down to the ground so you're not feeling like you're arching in your upper back, so that you're connected there. And then let's go ahead and lengthen your arms down by your sides. And I want you to imagine that you have a clock face on your pelvis. It's pointing up to the ceiling. Your belly button will be 12. Your pubic bone is 6. Your left hip is 3 and your right hip is 9. Actually, I have that backwards. Your left hip is, yeah, that's right, 3 and your right hip is 9. Okay, we're going to start with an exhale. We're going to tilt the pelvis up towards 12 o'clock. So your pubic bone is going to tilt to 12 o'clock. So the small of your back will come closer to the floor. And then we're going to lengthen down to 9 o'clock. So your tailbone is going to drop down towards the floor, increasing the curve in the spine. And exhale up to 12. Good. And down to 6. And let's exhale up to 12, drawing the abdominals in. And then we're going to inhale, lengthen down to 6. And then 12. One more time, lengthen down to 6. And then we're going to find that center point again in neutral. And now we're going to go between 3 and 9. So your left hip is going to rotate towards 3, dropping to the floor. And then we're going to rotate to 9. And over to 3. And then to 9. You might notice there's a little less movement this way. 3. And then to 9. Avoiding hiking the hip up towards your rib, you're rotating 3. And then to 9, kind of like you're doing a twist. And 3. And then back over to 9. And let's stop and center for a moment. Notice, are you taking any extra tension in your shoulders and neck? Hopefully not. And now we're going to go around the whole face of the clock. We'll exhale up to 12. And then we're going to roll over to 1. Then to 2. Over to 3. Then 4, 5, let me see your 6, good, and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, back up to 12, and 1, 2, over to 3, good, down 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, up to 12. Let's go the other way. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Find your 6. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 12. Good. 11, 10, 9. Good. Just noticing. 7, 6, how your hips are just stirring in the socket. 3, 2, 1, back up to 12, and then find your center. Good, and make sure you're really in that neutral position. So we do this to kind of feel, oh, the pelvis can move separately from the rest of the body, and to kind of warm up the spine. Now we're going to let your rib cage float up to the ceiling. So we're going to take a little bit of arch in the upper back, and then we're going to drop the ribs down into the floor. So we're doing kind of like that standing isolation that we did. So the rib's going to hitch forward, And then we're going to drop it down. And again, lift it up to the ceiling. And then drop it down. Now we're going to just slide it side to side. So the ribs are going to slide a little to the right. And they're going to slide to the left. And to the right. And to the left. And to the right. And left. Good. It's a little hard on the floor. Right. And left. And find your center. All right, great. Just seeing that the rib cage has movement too. And we're going to go into our lateral rib breathing. Let's take a nice deep breath in. Feel your rib cage dropping down into the floor and expanding out to the sides. And then we're going to exhale, blow all the air out. And again, inhale, feel that rib cage really widening and expanding. Good. How wide can you make those ribs? And then exhale, blow all the air out. One more time. Inhale, widen. Can you let your ribs touch your arms? That's how wide you're expanding. And then exhale. Great. And we're going to find the transversus. Let's find the front of your hips. And really find those bones with your fingertips. And then you're going to walk your fingertips in towards the center. Just a little bit below the belly button, just a little bit inside of the hip bones. And we're going to take a breath in. Feel your rib cage dropping down and widening. Hold your breath. Now I want you to draw your abdominal muscles in while holding your breath. And then exhale. Draw them in a little bit more. Good. Try to stay with me. Breathe in nice and wide. Expand that rib cage. Hold the width of the rib cage. Draw the abdominals in away from your fingertips, and then exhale. Blow the air out. And let's inhale. Widen that rib cage nice and wide. Hold the width. Isolate the abdominals before exhaling, and then exhale. Deepen. Great. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale. Widen the rib cage. Hold the width. Draw the abdominals in and see if you can feel the abdominals zipping up to the rib cage as you exhale. Feel that transversus all the way where it attaches onto the inside of the rib cage. Good. Let's breathe in. We're going to add the pelvic floor in nice and wide through the ribs. Hold that width. Draw the abdominals in and think of the pelvic floor muscles drawing up. And then exhale. Deepen the abdominals and the pelvic floor. And let's breathe in nice and wide. Hold the width. Find the abdominals, the pelvic floor muscles draw up. And then exhale, deepen all the way to the ribs. And one more time. Breathe in. Hold the width. I want you to pull the abdominals in, the pelvic floor muscles draw up. And then exhale, deepen everything. Good. All right. Let's bring the arms down by your sides. So we've got the diaphragm on the top of the core. We've found the transverse in the front, the pelvic floor on the bottom. Now we're going to find the back of the core. Let's see if we can reach those arms past your hips and try to almost touch your heels. The shoulder blades are drawing down the back, but at the same time, you have to do that little tug of war and don't let the rib cage fly up to the ceiling as we draw those shoulder blades down. See if you can feel the shoulder blades and the rib cage connecting front to back. Let's breathe in this time right away as we exhale. We're going to draw the abdominals, the pelvic floor, and we're going to let the shoulder blades slide down the back to feel the back of the body. Good. Let's drop down to neutral a little bit more. And breathe in. And then exhale, abdominals, pelvic floor, shoulder blades. You lengthen, your neck gets longer. And again, breathe in. And exhale, abdominals, pelvic floor, shoulder blades, lengthen. Don't feel tight and stuck, feel long. Good, and release there. Good, take a little wiggle. And we're going to go into grounding. So we just found the inner knee unit. Now we're going to start to add some of the outer unit in with this. So let's just press the heels into the mat to activate the hamstrings. Then we're going to squeeze your ball activating the inner thighs. And you're going to feel that go up through the pelvic floor. Then we're going to zip the abdominals up from the pubic bone to the rib cage. And then we're going to reach the shoulder blades down the back. Good. Tighten, and let's deepen that a little bit more. Good, and relax. And we'll take a breath in. Exhale, press into the heels, inner thighs, pelvic floor, abdominals, shoulder blades. Good, and deepen just a little bit more. So you're working. You're feeling the legs feed into the pelvis, the arms feed in to the upper body. And relax. And one more time. Let's press into the heels, finding the hamstrings, the inner thighs, squeezing the ball, the pelvic floor, the abdominals all the way up to the rib cage. The shoulder blades are going to settle the upper body on top. Little deeper, little deeper. Make sure you're not rounding into 12 o'clock, even more. That's it. And release. Good. Going into a pelvic press, we're going to take a breath in. Exhale, grounding. Hamstrings, inner thighs, pelvic floor, shoulder blades, abdominals. And we're going to press and lift the hips up to the ceiling. Just a flat back bridge. So straight up, pressing the hips up. Press the arms down into the mat. Let the collarbones widen. And we're going to lower the hips back down to the floor. Just in one piece. Good. And press straight up. We're not rounding yet. Straight up. Good. And then we're going to lower straight down. That's it. And exhale. Press straight up. Good. Push a little bit higher. And then lower straight down. Last one. And pressing up, grounding into the feet. Don't forget about the inner thighs, pelvic floor, shoulder blades, and lower back down. And now we're going to take that into a segmented pelvic curl. Inhaling. Exhale, draw the abdominals in so deep that you're going to go to 12 o'clock. And then we're going to continue curling the hips up to the ceiling. Once you reach the top, see if you can reach your knees out away from you just a little bit more and grow longer. And then we're going to roll down one vertebrae at a time, starting with the rib cage, then the middle back, then the lower back. Then finally, you're going to lengthen the tailbone down towards the floor. And breathe in. Exhale, curling up. And I want you keeping your grounding the whole time as you roll up. You're still finding the inner thighs, the hamstrings. Good. Inhale at the top. And keep your hips up as high as you can as you start with the rib cage. Then the middle back. Then the lower back. Then finally the tailbone. Good. One more time. Breathing in. Exhale, curling up. One vertebrae at a time. It's like you're lifting a string of pearls off the floor. One pearl at a time. Each vertebrae is a pearl. And then once you reach the top, you try to keep your hips as high as you can and start with the rib cage. That one pearl lowers, then the one below that, then the one below that, then the one below that, until your tailbone is all the way down in your neutral. Great. How are we doing? Let's go ahead and take the ball out from between your knees. And we're going to go ahead into knee folds. The arms are going to come down by your sides. Watching that your pelvis doesn't roll side to side or that you aren't going into a 12 o'clock or a 6 o'clock tilt. We're going to take a breath in. As you exhale, we're going to draw your right knee up to tabletop. And then inhale, lower it down, still holding on to it with the abdominals. Same leg, exhale, right leg up. And then inhale down, thinking about how that femur is going to drop down and into the socket. And inhale back down. Think about your grounding on your left leg as you lift the right. Inhale it down. And I want you to imagine you have a string attached from your abdominals to your knee. As you pull your abdominals in, that's what draws the knee up. And as the leg lowers, you don't want to let that string go. You don't want to let that connection go. And lift. And bring it down. 2 more here. And lift. Keeping your waist long on that right side. And down. Last one. And lift. Exhaling up. And lower it down. And left leg grounding into the right. As you exhale, lift the left. Think of bringing it slightly across the midline. That's it. And down. So we're still grounding. We're still feeling the hamstring, the inner thigh, the pelvic floor, and the shoulder blades. Great. And exhale, lift. Good. And bring both knees in a little closer and not too far in, just to there. Good. Keep going, everyone. And then can you pull your right hip down into the mat a little more? Good. As you lift that leg, keep that right hip grounded. There. Good. Just a couple more. And lift from the abdominals. And how much can you keep your leg a little bit relaxed? So it's just floating that leg up. Pull your right hip back just a little more. Yes, good. 2 more on this side. Let your foot come up just a little, even though it's relaxed. You want to keep that 90-degree angle at the knee. Good. And let's bring that left leg back down. We're going to lift the right knee up to tabletop. We're going to take your left hand onto the inside of that knee and thigh. And we're going to exhale and press the hand into the knee into the hand. See if you can find that diagonal from the left rib cage to the right abdominal and bring it down. And other side, exhale as you press the right hand into the left knee. Push deep and into that core. Make sure your abdominals aren't pushing out and bring it down. And other side, exhale, pressing across, finding that depth. And then bring it down. And right hand to left knee. And you can press the left arm and the right foot into the mat to get that backswing. And bring it down. And left hand to right knee. Press the right hand and the left foot. Good. And lower. And right hand to left knee. Press deepen. And bring it down. All right, we're going to take your little ball and we're going to place it underneath your sacrum. So it's going to go just under your sacrum. Make sure it's not in the small of your back. It's not on your tailbone, but right where your pelvis can balance on top. If you're finding that this bothers your SI joint at all, you can just take the ball out and this exercise can be done without the ball. No, I think you were good. Okay. I want you to exhale, bring the right knee up to tabletop and then the left and hold both legs up there. Now notice it can be easy to kind of let your back arch and let your belly push out. Can you just deepen the abdominals and kind of let the legs come in just a little bit, just so that you're not straining in the hip flexors to hold those legs up. Great. You feel that connection between your hip bone and your rib cage. Remember we talked about the suspenders being attached. You want to feel that connection. And then we're going to exhale. Slowly lower your right leg towards the floor, keeping the knee bent. And then we're going to inhale, bring it up. And now we're going to slowly lower the left leg, deepening the abdominals. Inhale, bring it up. And exhale as you lower so you can deepen the abdominals. Inhale to lift. And then exhale, pulling in. Good. And lift. Again, exhale, only going as low as you can keep the abdominals scooping in. And lift. If they start to push out, you may want to limit your range. good, and lift. And again, feel how the abdominals are holding the weight of the leg. You're not straining in the hip flexor. And left. And bring it up. We're going to speed it up a little bit. And we're going to alternate, tapping right and left. Right. Okay, speed doesn't mean loss of control. Right. Left. Good. Right. And left. Good. And deepen a little more. And left. Good. Find the abdominals underneath the abdominals. Left and right. Left. Right. Good. And left. Reach the arms a little longer. Left. Last one. Right. Left. And we're going to bring the feet all the way down. Good. And let's go ahead and take the ball out. Great. All right. Let's reach your arms up to the ceiling. Let's have the palms facing each other. And the shoulder blades are settled. And just up to the real ceiling. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's bring your knees up to tabletop. And we're going to go into the dead bug. We're going to do it a little bit different than yesterday. So we're going to let the right arm reach up above your head. Your left toe is going to touch towards the floor. And good. That's it. And bring it back up. So we're doing opposite arm and leg today. Left arm and right foot. And bring it center. And right arm and left foot. And center. Okay, now I want you to really think about the small of your back. What's happening? Good. So there's a lot of arch. I want you to bring your knees in a little farther to start. Good. And now only go about halfway. Deepen. There we go. That's it. All right, this one gets a little trickier with not letting that back come up. So you want to think of imprinting, even though it'll be almost impossible to imprint. But if you think it, you'll have a better chance. Good. Last one, or finish your second side, please. Good. And let's go ahead and bring one foot down at a time. Great. All right. Good. Let's go ahead and bring your hands behind your head. How did you twist on me here? That's interesting.
One sling is
one's a little stronger than the other.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring your hands behind your head. I want you to interlace your fingers and cradle the base of your skull. And I want, again, to think about that back line of your body. So I want you to press your head into your hands and then press your hands up to your head. See if you can fire up a little bit the muscles between the shoulder blades. And you're going to feel that that upper part of your body is moving in one piece. So think of your grounding first. Find the hamstrings, inner thighs, pelvic floor, abdominals, shoulder blades. And we'll take a breath in. As we exhale, we're going to hinge up, lifting the head and shoulders up, and then lowering back down. And exhale, feel your rib cage dropping down to the floor. Your shoulder blades are going to stand on in, and you deepen the abdominals and come back down. And exhale, curling up and lower. There shouldn't be any pulling on your neck. You're just lifting from your abdominals. Your head is cradling and holding your head gently. And exhale, lifting up. And lower. One more time. Exhaling up. I want you to hold up there. We're going to take a lateral rib breath. Inhale, nice and wide through your ribs. And exhale, deepen into that core, just staying up. Inhale, and you can look down at your abdominals. And exhale, and notice how that transversus is pulling together. Inhale. And exhale, deepen. Can you go a little bit deeper? One more time, breathing in. And exhale, deepening. And then float the head back down. Great. Keep your hands right where they are. And we're going to add the knee folds with the chest lift. This is one of my favorite things to do. I don't know why. But let's take a breath in. We're going to exhale, curl up into that chest lift. And we're going to inhale, hold there. Exhale, we'll bring your right knee up to tabletop. Again, deepening the lower abdominals. Now we'll bring the left leg up to meet it. And now we're going to lower the right leg. Lower the left leg all the way down to the floor, and then lower the head down. Exhale, lifting the head and shoulders. And we'll lift the left leg first this time and use the abdominals to pull that leg up. And then deepen as you pull the right leg up. Good. And deepen as you lower the left. Good. Deepen as you lower the right. And float the head down. We'll do one more set. Exhale, curling up nice and deep. And right leg drags up, sinking the abdominals. And the left leg drags up. And lower the right leg. Good. And try not to let your head drop down to the floor. Stay in your curl. Lower the left leg. And the head floats down. Let's do that one more time. Exhale, curling up, dropping the rib cage. And now the left leg curls up and curl up to it with the upper body. And curl up to it with the upper body. And now the left leg lowers, curl up to it. And the right leg lowers. Oh, I see a little trembling. Good. And lower the head back down. All right, great. So that I feel like brings the lower and the upper together. All right, that's a good idea. Take a little stretch like Camille. It's a lot of core work. All right, we're going to go ahead and flip over onto our hands and knees. Let's have our head towards this end. And move up close to the front edge of your mat. And we're going to find our beautiful quadruped position, making sure your knees are directly underneath your hips again, in line with your hip bones. Your hands are underneath your shoulders. And I want you to feel the inside edge of your hand pressing into the floor. And then you're going to feel like you're pulling your arms apart from each other so that we're broadening across the collarbone. We have a really strong base. And I'm going to have you bring your arms a little farther apart. Yep, so you can get more on the outside of your shoulder. Yes. All right, now we're just going to let the belly hang out for a minute. Try not to let your back sag, but let the belly hang out. And just gently lift your belly up. Good, and let it hang out. Good, pull your shoulder blades down and lift your belly up without changing your back. And let it hang down one more time. And lift the belly. And then let's just feel a little length through the crown of your head and your tail. That looks beautiful. We're going to take an inhale as we start to reach your right arm out along the floor, and we're going to bring it up alongside your head, alongside your ear. Only go as far as your shoulder is comfortable. Now notice what happened in your rib cage, in your core as you did that. And let's bring it back down. And now we'll reach the left arm. Lengthen it out. Good. And feel that you're lifting it from the bottom of your shoulder blade and not the top. Yes. And let's bring it down. And exhale. Right arm's going to reach. Good. Try not to sag in the middle there. And let your arm be a little bit wider. There we go. And bring it down. And left arm reaches out. Careful that you're not collapsing into the wrist and the arm of the right. You're kind of pushing the floor away so that you're strong. And bring it in. And now we're going to do a leg. We're going to take an inhale. Just slide the leg out along the floor. Keep the toes on the floor for a moment. Make sure that your pelvis is staying level. And now we're going to exhale. Lift the leg up. Now remember, those hip extenders, the hamstrings and the glutes, lift the leg up, not the lower back. And bring the leg back down and in. And let's inhale first, slide the leg out. Toes are still on the floor for a moment. Reset yourself. And then exhale, lift the leg up using the back of the leg muscles. And the leg reaches long and away from you. And bring it down. One more time. Inhale, slide the right leg out. And then as you lift the leg, deepen the abdominals. Remember, imagine your belly's on the floor. Don't lose that blueberry. Good. Let's draw your shoulder blades down a little bit more. Lengthen your head. Good, Jill. Bring your head up just a little. And everyone, internally rotate your right leg just a little bit. There we go. And let's bring it in. And then inhale, left leg's going to slide out. Toes stay on. Prepare as you exhale to lift that leg up. And careful not to let your abdominals go. Reach a little longer through the crown of your head, everybody. Let your arms widen just a little bit and bring it in. Staying where you are, we're going to do a little cat-cow. So you're going to exhale, rounding your back. And I want you to think of really stretching through the lumbar spine, less than the thoracic. Thoracic's going to move, but the lumbar needs a little more coaxing. And then we're going to inhale, lengthen, and pull your sternum through your arms. Remember not to throw your head back too far. And exhale, pulling the abdominals in, rounding. Lumbar spine, rounding. Good. And then we're going to inhale and think of arching through the thoracic spine. And be careful, your abdominals aren't sinking. You still have that transversus connected. And then we're going to round the back. Good. Let your head follow that natural curl. And then we're going to go into an arch and let your sternum feel like it's reaching forward and through your arms. Good. Nice. And then round 2 more times. Rounding. Pulling the small of the back up to the ceiling. And then going into your arch. Letting your chest come up. One more time. And rounding. Really enjoy the stretch this time. Good. And then going into your arch. Great. And let's just sit back in the child's pose for a moment. Do whatever rest that you need, Camille. All right. Let's come one more time back up into quadruped. And we're going to do the opposite arm and leg reach. So make sure your legs are lined up right underneath your hips. Lindsay, walk your knees back just a little bit. Sorry, Michaela. I'm the wrong person. Okay, there we go. And we're going to go ahead and inhale. Reach your right arm and left leg out, avoiding shifting to the side. We're going to hold here, and I want everyone to shift your weight over to your left. And just notice what happens. And can you find a little bit of length through the body? And make sure that your left hip is not lifting up to the ceiling. And let's bring the arm and foot back down. And inhale, slide the left arm and right leg out into the distance. And then reach it up long. Good. And Michaela, bring your right leg in towards the midline a bit more. Good. And hold. Let's shift the weight to the right a little bit. And let's push into the floor to float the abdominals up away from the floor a little bit more. And bring it down. And we're going to reach the right arm and left leg out again. This time we're going to do a cat-cow with it. So we're going to bend the right elbow and the left knee. Bring them into each other, rounding the back. And then we're going to straighten back out into that long line. Let your head go in line again. And then round. Let your head look down toward your navel. And then reach it out long, longer than the first time. And round into center. And reach out nice and long. Watch your upper shoulder. Try not to get too tense there. And round. Pulling into your center. And then reach it out long. Good. Make sure your weight isn't shifted over to the right too much. And bring the arm and the hand down. And we'll do the other side. Let's inhale, lengthen, left arm and right leg out. And we're going to exhale, round the back, pulling the knee into the elbow. And then reach it out long. And pulling in. And reaching long. Careful not to lift the leg too high and not to use the back. Good. And rounding in. And then reach long. Your toe is reaching one way, your fingertips the other way. And then your center is pulling into the middle. One more time. And reach long. Hold. Shift your weight over to the right just a bit. Good. And bring it down. And one more time to child's pose. This time you can walk your hands over to the right side of the mat to kind of stretch out the left side of your waist. And then let's walk over to the other side of the mat. Great. Come back to center. And we're going to go ahead and lay down on your stomach. Arms are going to be down by your sides, palms facing up to the ceiling. And as you're here, make sure the legs, again, are in line with your hips. You feel your grounding here as well. How do we do that? So we feel a little bit of the hamstrings engaged, the inner thigh, the pelvic floor, the shoulder blades. And we want to feel that we're lengthening the low back so your sacrum is slightly reaching towards your heels to create a little more openness in the back. The pubic bone is pressing into the floor. And we're going to inhale, lengthen the head out a bit, and we're going to start to lift the chest up, rolling the shoulder blades back onto the back, and the hands can float up just to the ceiling, just a bit. And keep the palms facing up to the ceiling. And lower yourself down. Good. Inhale, grow a little bit longer. Feel that elongation, not only through your head, but through your feet. And float up. And then lower back down. One more time. Breathe in. And see if you can feel the muscles of the upper back and shoulder blades. And be careful that you're not pushing your belly out to give you leverage to get up higher. You're pulling those abdominals in. And let's stay there. We're going to pulse the arms up to the ceiling. Pulse 1, 2, 3, 4. Think sort of the hundreds. 7, 8, 9, 10. And lower everything down. And we're going to bring your hands by your shoulders, bending the elbows. Make sure your elbows are tucked into your sides. Lengthen the lower back once more. And we're going to breathe in, and we're going to begin to lift and peel the sternum off the floor and lifting up one vertebrae at a time. Start off about halfway, and then let's lower back down. And breathe in. We'll lift up. And you can go a little higher if you want to straighten the arms, and you have the ability to do so. You can. Beautiful. And come down. Everyone's doing a great job of not hiking the shoulder blades up. And breathe in and lift. Good. And make sure you're lifting your abdominals with you. Abdominals are floating off the floor and lowering back down. Now, this next time, you're going to take your hands off the floor. Just hover them off the floor. And we're going to lift up as high as you can without your hands, floating up. Then once you can't go anymore, you're going to place your hands lightly, and you're going to continue up the rest of the way, lifting up, just feeling like you're not really using your hands all that much. Now, as you come down, you're going to see if you can take your hands off the floor. As soon as you can, you're going to lift your hands, and then you'll continue the rest of the way down. Good. And again, inhale, lifting up, find your shoulder blades, and then once you need your hands, you can use them. Good. Make sure you're supporting with the abdominals, and then we're going to lower back down. Your hands can float off when they're ready and lower down. Great. Okay, very nice swans. You guys had some good training. All right, we're going to go ahead and just reach the arms above your head. This is kind of a lot of back extension. And again, I want your shoulders to be comfortable, so not too close into your head where you can't let your shoulders release a bit. And we're going to go ahead and lengthen out, float the arms and legs up to the ceiling slightly. And then we're going to just lift the right leg up. Think about your hip extension and bring it down. And then the left leg and down. And think about that femur really sinking into the hip socket. And make sure your legs are still parallel here for today. And lift. And now we're going to start swimming. So we're going to alternate right arm and left leg, left arm and right leg. And swimming. Good, and let's go a little quicker. And 1. Good. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. Make sure that you're using the back of the legs, the hip extensors more than the low back. And let's come down. Great. And let's come up into quadruped one more time. And we're just going to do one catch, stretching the spine up to the ceiling. Good, just rounding, rounding, rounding. Good, lengthening that lower back. And then come back to a neutral spine. We're going to lift your right foot, keeping your right knee on the floor. And we're going to tail wag. We're going to look over to the right at your foot. And then over to the left. And to the right. Side bending your spine. And to the left. Good. And you can feel like you've got 2 wheels spinning opposite of each other. Good. And right. Good. And let's do the other foot. And rotate nice. And rotate. Beautiful. Just to loosen that spine. Good. I'm just giving you a little impetus on the rotation. There we go. I didn't mean for you to change your spine too much. Good. And rotate. 1 more each side. And good. Release. And we're going to go ahead and sit up facing forward. Legs can be straight out. And if you need to, bend your knees slightly, or if you roll up the back end of your mat to sit on, just to give you a little more lift, that will work as well. Let's place the right hand on the floor. We're going to lengthen the left arm up to the ceiling and create a little more lift on that side of the ribs. And we're going to bend the elbow and just stride, stretch over. And then lift to come up. And let's go to the other side. Right arm up and spill up and over. And then bring it back up. And one more time, up and over. And lift. And other side, up and over. And then come up. Let's reach both arms out to the sides. Inhale, lengthen up a little more. We'll exhale, rotate to the right. And then inhale, lengthen through center. And exhale to the left. Inhale, lengthen center. Let's exhale, hold center. And we're going to inhale to the right. And exhale, center. Growing a little taller. Inhale to the left. Exhale, center. And then rest your hands. Good. Let's go ahead and lay on our right side facing the front desk over there. And you can line your back up with the back of the mat. And you can be laying down on your arm. That works well. And we're just going to reach the legs long. And we're going to try and find our neutral here on the side. Remember, the side of your waist may be lifting off a little bit. Good. And we're just going to reach so long, we're going to float the legs up. Both legs together are going to lift up and down. And lift up and down. Lift up and down. Good. Up and down. And think out and up. And down. Out and up. 2 more. Up. Last one. Hold them up there. Let's flex the feet. We're going to lift the top leg up and down. 1 and 2. 3. Good. 4. Roll your top hip forward if you can. 5. Good. And what's happening in your grounding? 7. Hold the top leg up there. We're going to bring the bottom leg up to meet the top leg. 1 for the adductor. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. And release. And we're going to roll to the other side. Just a quick ab and adduction. All right. Nice and long through the spine. Good. Make sure your abdominals are connected in the front body. And we're going to lift both legs out and up. 1 and down. 2 and 3. 4 and 5. Good. 6, 7, 8. Great. 9. And hold them up there, lifting the top leg 10 times. 1, you can flex the feet. 2, that's it. 3, exhale each time. 4 and 5. Nice. 6, 7, great. 8, hold the top leg up. Bottom leg's going to come up to meet it. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and come down. We're going to go ahead and prop ourselves up onto our forearm. You want to make sure that your elbow is right underneath your shoulder. And you can have your top leg forward of your bottom leg. And we're just going to lift up into a side plank. So press your hips up. And just hold this side plank. Make sure your shoulder blade is drawing down the back. Your core is pulling in. You're grounding into your feet. Your adductors are drawing together. Good. And then we're going to just rotate into a plank forward on the floor. Staying on the forearms, though. There. Good. And just hold for 5. Can you lift your abdominals a little bit more? 3, 2, 1. And if you can, we're going to go to the side plank on the other side. And planking. And holding. Good. Feel like you have a sling underneath your waist, just floating you up. Find your shoulder blade drawing down the back. Squeeze the adductors, squeeze the abductors. Lengthen your spine. Good. We're going to go back forward onto your forearm plank and then actually just relax down for a moment. Good. All right. That was the shock to the system. All right. We're going to actually step out into a hand plank now. So if you come onto all fours, find your shoulders again. And we're just going to step out 1 foot. Make sure you find the back of your leg, your hip extensors already fired up. And then we're going to find the hip extensors on the other leg. And just hold there. Good. Now, can you lengthen through the crown of your head a little bit more? Michaela, press your hips a little bit lower to the floor. Find your hamstrings, your adductors. Good. Lower your hips just a little bit right there. Good. And then we're going to pike the hips up, press your legs back. Great. And you can reach your heels to the floor, getting a little bit of a stretch. And then I want you to walk your hands towards your feet. And we're going to come up to standing. And then let's slowly roll up. Take your time. We had all the blood down there. Rolling up. Okay, good. Let's turn around and face the other way. And we're going to grab your TheraBand. If someone has one that's a little too dinky, let me know. That should work. And we're going to go ahead and stand on it with both feet, just to anchor it. And we're going to start off with the bicep curl. So you can either wrap it around or just get a good grip and try to have your wrists very neutral. And we're just going to curl up 1. Now, making sure we're not letting the humeral head roll forward. We're supporting from the back of the shoulder. Good. That's it. 2 more. And let's go ahead and bend your knees and kind of hinge forward at the hips for a tricep press. And you can turn your palms the other way, and we're going to extend back for a tricep. Make sure you're not rounding your back, and make sure you bend the elbows and straighten them. So there we go, Michaela. Good. 2 more here. And come all the way up. And we're going to come off of the band. We're going to hold on with the palms facing up. And you can start with your hands about shoulder width apart. And we're going to do a little external rotation, rotating the humerus bone outward and seeing if you can find the muscles between the scapula, initiating the movement. You could be holding on with barely a pinky finger. So you're not pulling with your hand. It's all from the back. Good. 1 more. Doesn't take a lot to get fatigued here. All right, we're going to turn the palms down and step forward a little more, Michaela. And we're going to just press the arms outward. Again, initiating from the back of the shoulder blade. As the arms come together, you're not completely relaxing and letting everything collapse in. You're almost lifting more. And thinking about your grounding, pressing into the heels, hamstrings, inner thighs, pelvic floor, abdominals, shoulder blades. Good. And there's many more things we can do with the arms, but we're just going to take a shoulder stretch. So if you need to hold a little bit wider, this is a little bit too much on your shoulder, or just go halfway. Listen to your body. Good. Just a couple more. Good. And let's put the band down. All right. We're going to do just some knee bends. Feet are parallel, about hip distance apart. And we're just going to bend the knees down and up. Thinking about the tracking of your knees. My knees like to roll in a little bit. Notice what your knees like to do. They tend to roll out a little bit. And try to soften the ankle. Try not to grip and hold, but you're just letting the bones. It's almost like my ankles feel like they're going back. The knees are going forward. So that the tibia kind of actually moves forward and back in space. 9. 1 more. Good. And now let's go into a squat. We're going to go just a little bit wider. And remember, with the squat, the hips are going to fold and you're going to sit in a chair and up. And again, notice what your knees like to do. Mine talk a little bit. Now, think about pushing with your glutes. I like to think about those weightlifters with the weights on the shoulders. You're really taking that weight down into the earth, and then you're pushing it up. Or CrossFit people. And make sure you're getting that full hip extension as you stand up. You're not just straightening the knees, you're straightening the hips. Stand all the way up, Camille. Yeah. Good. Up. 2 more. And push up from here. Great. And we're going to take it into a wide stance. And a little bit turned out. So you can even go wider than your mat. And we're going to take the arms up with it into that squat. Down. And how low do you dare to go? And make sure that knee is in line with your toe. And let's think about that ground. And we're going to push it forward. We're going to draw the adductors together to help bring us up. And think of the pelvic floor here. Activate it to help lift all of your organs, your core, and make sure you stack your spine back up on top of itself. 2 more. 1 more. And we're going to hold. And we're going to bounce there. Just little pulses. Make sure your ribs are in. I just noticed mine were flaring. Good. And come all the way up. All right. And we're going to do this, a tilting lunge in many directions. So we're first going to just step forward in parallel. So let's just everyone do that. You can have your hands on your hips. Remember, your back leg is straight. Your body is tilting over your front knee. Back leg is straight. Your shoulders are going to go over your knee. You're drawing a line from your back heel through your head. 1 more. And come up. We're going to go to the side. Come forward a little, Michaela. And you're just going to side lunge. So this also gets the abductors. Good. Good. And what would happen when we go back? That's a little funnier. Can you keep the front leg straight, just as in the last ones? This will be good for balance, good for tennis serve or any sports where you have to shift back. And come center and find your legs again. And we're just going to lift your right knee up and find your balance. Remember, you're grounding into that foot, feeling the inner thighs, both inner thighs coming together. Your hamstring, your glute med is kind of sucking your hip into the socket. Beautiful balance. All right, now what if we had to move that leg around? Many directions. Good. And let's rest. Okay, other leg. Let's find that balance. Find that tree trunk. The roots are growing into the earth and the branches are growing out. Make sure your pelvis is level. And we'll just move that leg around many different directions. Internal, external. Good. Try not to keep the same pattern. Trick your body. And good. See if you can find your balance one more time. Bring it down. And we're just going to releve a few times. So we're going to put all this together, grounding down into the earth. You're going to press down to lift up. And then slowly lower down like you're smashing a marshmallow under your heels. And you're going to press up and down. Think about that magic circle that we squeeze between the ankles. Think about having a ball between your ankles. And down to get those adductors helping you. Good. One more time. Press up. Hold. See if you can just a little bit find your hamstring so your body is really standing on the back of your leg. I always think of a mannequin, that stick kind of going up the back, holding them up. And then if you so dare, you can look right, you can look left. Whoa. And you can try closing your eyes. Your vestibular system really helps with balance. And then let's come down. And I'm just going to roll the shoulders forward 4 times. And then we're going to roll them back. And we're all done. Good work.